use the pen tools to select each shape individually. One of the shapes will need to be copied with a crisp, clean edge, and one of the shapes will need to be copied with a blended, feathered edge. To begin, obviously, you need to download the file. Again, if all you do is double click the file, it opens into preview, which is not what you want. Right click, target the program to open, Creative Cloud or CS5. Okay, I'm going to fill my screen, shortcut F with the file, and I'm going to select my pen tool. Okay, in the Illustrator program, you could click on the pen tool and there would be a tear off to keep all of these open. That is not how it works in Photoshop. You will need all of these tools potentially, as well as your direct select tool, which is this white arrow, and that is in case you need to move any of the anchor points. We will plot with the pen. So to begin, using the pen tool creates what's called a path. So you want to have layers, paths, and always, of course, history open. We have a locked layer, double click. We want to duplicate and turn off. Okay, so to begin, we're simply plotting points. These are straight lines, so I'm just clicking. I'll make a mistake or two so that we can correct them. And we're going to just go all the way around and back to where we started. And if you noticed, when I got to where I started, next to the pen tool was a circle showing we were closing the path. Now, my path is a little messed up. The idea of this pen tool is for precise selections, so you want to be sure you make any adjustments that are needed. I'm using the direct select tool to move that anchor point. I'm going to move this anchor point, and I'll move this anchor point here to get nice, straight, clean lines, and I'll adjust this corner anchor point. Okay, if I needed to adjust an arc or angle, I would have used this Convert Anchor Point tool. And if I needed to add a point or delete a point, I'd use these. So let's delete a point real quick. So we'll select the delete, that has the pen with the minus sign, and let's get rid of that anchor point. Oh no, I have not put enough anchor points to make my star. So let's go to the Add Anchor Point tool. Come in here to the path. You have to click right on the path, and there we go. We have an anchor point. And we'll take the direct select and drag it into place. Now, I drag it into place, and I've got some arcs going on here. I need to change them to straight edges. I can still use this direct select tool to adjust the handle to get a straight line between 2 points, or I can always go back to the Convert Anchor Point tool, which allows you to use the handles to adjust the arc or angle between 2 points. And there we go. We have a path. Now, if you look in paths, you'll see there's that star. In the right corner, we have a drop down that will let you make a selection. Okay. Now, feather radius. The lower the number, the cleaner and crisper the edge of your selection. The higher the number, the more blended. So we'll go with a clean, crisp edge to our star. So I'm going to leave it at 0 and click OK. So now you see the marching ants or the blinking line, and that is your selection. We're over here on this layer. I'm going to copy and paste as usual, and there is my star. And I'm going to use my move tool and simply move it over. So I keep my original and I have my copy. Now, we're going to go back and we're going to create a selection from this circle. Pen tool I've selected. Now to do my circle, I'm just going to click and drag a handle. We don't see any lines yet, that's just handles. I'm going to come to this right side, click and drag. Oh, look at that. I'm going to have to fix it. And we're going to come over here and click and drag. Oh, look at that. See how my handles are short here? That's what allowed me to get the perfect arc. I'll have to fix that top one. And I'm going to come to this side again and click and drag up to get this left corner and back to the beginning. Notice how the pen tool, when it touches the original anchor point, we get that closed circle next to the pen. That means we're closing the path. And look at that, my handles are going crazy, going crazy. Okay, so all of my sides are great, accurate, selected lines, except for the right. So again, either my direct select or my convert anchor point tool, and I will have to click to get these handles to show up. And look at that, I'm just clicking and dragging it in slightly up to the right, and there we go, a good circular selection. I have the original layer selected. Notice I have a work path for a circle and the star is gone. Right now we have no need to save our paths, but we will start saving them in the next couple assignments. So for now, the work path, go to the drop down, make a selection of it. This time we want a blended edge. So you might go to 10, 15, 20 pixels. Now, let me just show you what that means. We're going to zoom in, way far in. And if you notice, this image is made up of tiny little boxes. And these are what are called pixels. So each of these little dots or boxes is a pixel. And if I go to make my selection and I say I'm going to have a 15 pixel feather radius, that means 15 in. We are going to feather the edge. So we're going to click OK. I've made a selection. Let me zoom back out now. And we do notice how it's moved in just slightly, and that is what you wanted to happen. I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste, and you can't tell now and move it over. You can see it as I start to overlap it, but we're still on this original white background here. So we are going to want to remove this background now. So we're going to go to the tool that we know selects all like color pixels, which is our magic wand. Just simply click in the background of this original layer and delete. Now everything is transparent. We'll deselect, Command D. And let's add a new layer with a contrasting color. I think this pink, magenta, looks nice. I'm going to use my bucket. And while I have that new layer selected that I just put in, I went down here. If you hover, you can see create new layer. I did that for layer 3. I'm going to click, and I have a contrasting color. The problem is it is covering my original shapes, and that is because my new layer sits on top of the original. So I want to click and drag to bring it down, and now it's behind. You can see that my circle has a very nice glow to it. It looks like an accurate selection, and my star, it needed a little bit of touch up because I brought a little white with it. But that is the pen selection exercise with shapes. As always, we want to save our file as a Photoshop file, so save as. And in this case, it automatically went to a Photoshop file. And you just check down here at Format, make sure it's for Photoshop, save it, and you submit to the Dropbox.